The yacht reaches a safe bay, but the crew can't set up camp by the beach. It is blocked with driftwood that washed ashore, and the shoreline is too narrow to set up the tents there.
All these frequent storms drive driftwood from the shore. The driftwood ends up here. It has been a long journey, but this place is not suitable for a stopover. It's blocked with all sorts of things.
The captain decides to journey onwards, even though the sun is setting. He wants to get to a separate bay by the Bolshoi and Aur River for an overnight stay. Neither waves nor wind can reach it. The tide changes twice a day around the Shantar Islands. The difference in water level can be as much as 8 meters. During the night, the water receded and the yacht ended up stuck on a sandbank. The captain seizes the opportunity to check his yacht for any damage.
Well, while the captain was asleep on the job, the tide turned the yacht around and left it here. Now that it's on the ground, we can't possibly get it to budge. We will have to wait 25 hours before the next high tide. And then we'll continue our journey.
The islands are inhabited by a great many animals, but the bears pose the biggest threat to humans. That is why all expeditions coming here make a point of camping out in open territory that can be easily monitored.
(2525), Roger, 3680.
The weather station is the only place on the Shantar Islands where people live all year round. It's situated in the middle of Bolshoi Shantar Island. The station's manager, Vladimir Boyka, monitors the weather and reports data to the mainland. Morse code is the most reliable way of transmitting information over long distances.
All the best to you.
The weather conditions on the Shantar Islands are quite challenging. Summer is short, and in the winter the islands are cut off from the rest of the world by severe storms.
When far away from civilization, your self-preservation instantly kicks in. You have to tread carefully to avoid slipping or spraining your ankle. If you're using a knife or an axe, you need to be careful. You must always remember that this place is far removed from civilization. If there is an emergency, help won't be coming for quite some time.
Foodstuffs and fuel are delivered to the weather station twice a year. Locals take good care of themselves. They grow vegetables on a small plot of land, and they also bake bread. People here can only prepare a few items at a time. In a preheated oven, 3 tins of dough bake for 40 minutes. Yacht captain Alexei Labanov is always welcome here. He brings food and news from the mainland. The meeting is celebrated with a traditional tea party, and the guest is treated to a local delight, a bread with cloudberry jam and sandwiches with red caviar.
Wow.
This delicacy is considered an everyday food here on the islands, which are rich with salmon. Anatoly Davidyuk is the island's oldest resident. He has many stories about severe storms and unexpected meetings with bears. After coming here in 1980, he was the weather station's chief manager for several years. When he quit that job, he decided to stay here for good. Since then, he has been making a living by hunting and fishing. He has been to nearly every remote part of the archipelago. Close to the weather station are the remains of a steam engine. It was brought here by whalers in the early 19th century.
They were whalers from North America. This is where large amounts of fat were rendered. A grinder was used to mince meat. There were lots of whales, but there was no electricity. All the machines, the power saw, bench, and the meat grinders were all driven by belts. Here, 2 belts were used.
Anatoly Davydyuk is 62 years old. When he sets out for the forest, he always takes his trusty rifle with him to ward off any bears.
If you carry a rifle with you, you won't come across anybody for months. But the moment you don't, a bear is bound to appear. That's why you need this.
The bears on Shantar Island are a big threat, but they tend to come after Anatoly's food supplies rather than the hunter himself.